Welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you've ever felt totally frustrated by fitness advice that just doesn't seem to work for you, you are in the exact right place. We're talking about a blueprint built specifically for the naturally thin frame. See, most generic bulking advice out there is written for average people. But if you have a genuinely skinny frame, you're not average. You're starting from less. Trying to use average advice on a thin body is like trying to run an app on the wrong operating system. It's just not going to work. So today, we're breaking down the exact data-driven structure to literally force muscle growth on a frame that naturally fights it. Okay, let's dive into this because the idea we're looking at right now, it totally shifts the paradigm. So many guys look in the mirror and falsely conclude, well, I just have terrible genetics for building muscle. But the source material for today's explainer completely rejects that notion. You're not small because bulking is impossible for you. You're small because no one ever handed you an instructional manual actually built for a thin body. Starting from absolute zero isn't a curse. Actually, as we're about to see, in the muscle building world, starting from zero is kind of like a hidden superpower. So here's the manual we're going to use to build your frame brick by brick today. 1. The skinny advantage. 2. Why less is more in training. 3. Fueling the growth. 4. Essential supplements. And finally, number 5, tracking the blueprint.
All right, let's kick things off with section 1, the skinny advantage, and your distance from genetic potential.
We've got to talk about timelines first, because let's be real, unrealistic expectations are exactly why guys get impatient and quit. Here's the biological reality. Your ultimate muscular ceiling, like the absolute max mass you can carry over a lifetime, is determined by your bone structure. But your current rate of growth depends purely on how far away you are from that ceiling. Because your frame hasn't been filled out yet, you are further away than almost anyone else. That is a massive advantage. While the average person starting a proper bulk expects to gain about half a pound a week, a genuinely skinny beginner can often push that closer to a full pound a week early on. If you've always been lean, you can absolutely ride that faster track to pack on mass.
Moving right along to section 2, training. Less is more. Stimulate, don't annihilate. Probably the biggest beginner mistake we see is thinking that more daily effort automatically equals more muscle. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Going to the gym and absolutely destroying every muscle every single day doesn't build a bigger body. It just gives you massive soreness and a way higher injury risk. The research is super clear here. A 3-day full body program stimulates growth just as effectively as those crazy high volume routines. Why 3 days? Because every single session triggers 2 to 4 days of growth. Hit it 3 times a week and you are literally growing all week long. And that brings us to this absolutely crucial concept, recovery debt. This is basically the physiological toll of training too frequently. Adding more sessions just piles on the fatigue. It doesn't magically produce more muscle than intelligently structured rest. Think of it this way. Rest days aren't wasted time. That's when the actual growth happens. If you want to optimize those off days, honestly, just take a 20 to 45-minute walk. It's plenty to boost your cardiovascular health and actually improve the quality of your bulk without digging into your recovery. Let's move to section 3, fueling the growth. Calories and consistency. Okay, so training creates the demand, right? But calories provide the supply. Without a consistent calorie surplus, all that hard work in the gym never actually turns into mass. But we need to redefine what a surplus actually is. It's not just some static number you get from an online calculator. It's a state defined exclusively by real-world results. Put simply, if your scale weight isn't going up week over week, you are not in a surplus. The math doesn't matter, the result is all that matters. So, how do we pull this off when skinny guys naturally face the hurdle of a smaller stomach and super fast satiety signals? Well, we use this remarkably simple progression. Step 1. Keep your current diet exactly as it is. Don't overhaul the whole shebang. Step 2. Just add 200 to 500 extra liquid calories a day. Like, drink a glass of whole milk with one meal. Have another with a second meal. Boom. You've effortlessly added almost 500 calories. Step 3. Check the scale after 2 weeks. If it isn't moving, add a bit more. Liquid calories are a game changer because they completely bypass those fast, "I'm full" signals. What's really interesting here is how consistency solves the appetite problem long term. You don't have to force down massive tubs of dried chicken and rice at midnight. Just eat the same meals at similar times every single day. Your digestive system is smart. It actually adapts to predictable schedules, which makes handling larger amounts of food way more manageable. You're literally training your digestion, exactly like you train your muscles. Now, what about protein? It definitely matters, but it's not some magic number you have to hit with absolute surgical precision. The sweet spot is zero point 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you're aiming for roughly 105 to 150 grams. Always prioritize whole foods first: meat, fish, eggs, dairy. Think of protein powder as just a supplement to fill in the gaps. Going back to our milk trick, right? A liter of high-protein milk easily gives you around 50 grams of protein and 500 calories in one super easy step.
All right, section 4, 2 essential supplements, because everything else is purely optional. We are deliberately cutting right through all the fitness industry noise here. Honestly, there are really only 2 supplements worth your time. First up, creatine monohydrate. Taking 5 grams of this daily can accelerate your lean mass gains by roughly 30%. It pulls water right into the muscle, which feels great for performance, and it drives genuine muscle growth because you're pushing harder in the gym. Second is caffeine. Toss that back 30 minutes before training, and it really bumps up your focus and drive. But, and this is a huge condition, only use it if it doesn't mess with your sleep. Because let me tell you, a good night's sleep outperforms caffeine for muscle growth every single time.
Finally, we hit section 5, tracking the blueprint. Monitor, measure, and adjust. Here's the deal. A bulk only works if you're actually measuring it. You can't just put this on autopilot and expect to magically transform over half a year. So here is your exact tracking routine. First, track every single lift. Jot down the exercise, the weight, the reps. You've got to ensure progressive overload. If the numbers on the bar aren't moving up, your bulk needs immediate adjusting. Second, weigh yourself every week at the exact same time under the same conditions. And third, grab a tape measure and take your physical measurements every 4 to 6 weeks. This breakdown is super helpful. It shows you exactly how to read those physical measurements to make sure you're adding solid lean mass and not just putting on unnecessary fat. When we look at measurements, good growth means your shoulders and your arms are growing faster than your waist. Makes sense, right? But if your waist is growing at the exact same pace as your arms, well, that's your cue to hit the brakes and slow the bulk down slightly. On the scale side of things, you want a nice, steady weekly increase. You really only want to dial back the calories if the scale is consistently rocketing past your target pace after those first couple of weeks. So the crucial point here is understanding this exact 6-month timeline. Weeks 1 and 2, your weight is going to jump up. That's just extra food in your system, glycogen loading, and water retention. Totally normal, do not panic. Then we hit months 1 through 5. And guys, this is where most men fail. They quit because the middle months feel kind of slow. You have to remember, muscle doesn't magically appear week to week. It's this quiet, invisible compounding of daily work. By month 6, a well-executed bulk can give you 25 to 40 pounds of total weight gain. And the vast majority of that will be pure muscle. Now listen, it is completely normal to gain a little bit of fat alongside that 25 to 40 pounds. Please do not let the fear of losing your abs stop you from building a massive foundation. It's totally fine, because after your 6-month bulk, all it takes is a short, highly focused 4-week cut to strip away that accumulated fat. And what you're left with is a net gain that is thick, strong, and incredibly lean. Which leads us to our final question for today's explainer. Are you ready to stop blaming your genetics and start building your blueprint brick by brick? The structure is right in front of you. The data backs it up. Now it's entirely up to you to put in the quiet, consistent work. Trust the structure. Adjust when your body tells you to. And whatever you do, don't stop when it feels slow. Get out there and start building.